it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, we are getting towards the end of this season of Friday Prime Time here on the iRacing Esports Network. I am Paul Smith, joined by Ryan Walker, and what a race we are going to have for you tonight. It's Oulton Park in Little Budworth in England, the north of England, in Cheshire, and, well, it always produces great action, does this track. Let's just bring the track details up on screen. There you have it then. 18 degrees air temperature, 18 degrees track temperature, mostly cloudy, 49% humidity with 13 mile an hour winds, kilometres an hour winds, should I say. That's 7 miles an hour. Yep, so we are here at Oulton Park for what will be the third from the end race of the primetime season. There you see February 14th, Oulton Park Island, and then we've got Circuit de Catalunya on the 21st, that's next week, and then we have got Silverstone National. It's going to be a draft fest around Silverstone in that final round of Friday prime time. But well, as I say, it's not just me in the commentary booth. Connery Maddock will be joining us shortly. He's just running a little bit late on a different broadcast, but instead I am here just for the time being. But Ryan, Oulton Park, it's a fantastic track, and it should produce some great action.
Absolutely fantastic track. Yeah, as we see in real life with the British Touring Car Championship, it produces great racing, and also the races that have been taking place in the official series during the week has been producing fantastic racing, and I think we should be in for more of the same tonight.
And, well, I tell you what, there's going to be some potential fireworks in this race as well, because I was actually competing yesterday, taking part on the official races yesterday, and there was a bit of fireworks between Simon Edwards and Christian Barber. And who is it that's on the front row of the grid at the moment in qualifying that we can see here? Why, it is Simon Edwards and Christian Barber. There's still 2 minutes 37 seconds remaining left in qualifying so far, so we'll keep those times up on the left hand side of your screen. But I'll tell you what, this track, it is one of my favourite all-time tracks. In fact, I'm going to say this now, it is my favourite track of all time. It's got such a great flow to it. It's great corners, and in fact, as we jump on board with one of your drivers, this is Thomas Simon coming into Lodge Corner, the final proper corner on the lap. You come down through Dealey, up through the left-hand kick. You've got the pit buildings there on your right-hand side. And he comes across the line to not actually set a lap time. Yes, he does, up to first place. Great time to join him there as we go on board with Lucas de Belder. We saw him just going through Cascades. This is the bit that's going to be the interesting part. This is the main overtaking spot, hard onto the brakes, into the island hairpin here, Ryan.
Yeah, the hairpin's going to be interesting. I think some people might try and make a move, and possibly they might outbrake themselves. And also with on lap one as well, with the pack being so bunched up, I think it might cause a concertina effect. And also this fast right-hander that we're coming up to now, this there's been some people trying risky moves through here during the weekend. It's one of those places that you can't really make a move, otherwise you'll just slow each other up.
Absolutely, Nick and Brook, that fast right-hander. We're heading into Druids now, double apex right-hander. Carry the speed through here, because you're going to go down the back straight here into Lodge. You can make the moves down here into Lodge Corner, as we're on board with Lucas de Velde at the moment, as into Lodge Corner he goes. We're into the last 45 seconds of qualifying. He's going to come across to make his final lap time up on screen. Well, not up on screen, but up in the books, and up into 11th place for Lucas de Velde. That's not bad going there, and I think it's safe to say, hello, Connery Maddock.
Hello, hello. I am here. How's it going?
Yeah, so we're coming towards the end of qualifying, so yeah, it's been it's great to have Oulton Park on a broadcast. I'm a happy camper. It's just a shame I'm not going to commentate on it now. I'm going to go into my production truck.
Do you want me to leave? Is that what,
No,
is that what
you're
saying?
all right. You stay.
I've been doing a lot of shouting this evening on a couple of things, but there we go. We got qualifying completely and utterly done with. We do have a qualifying grid set here for this round of Race Sport TV Friday prime time in the Skip Barber Racing School Series. It's Thomas Simon, pole position from Simon Edwards, as row 2 will consist of Christian Barber and Gerardo Ramos. Timu Vascalampi starts 5th place with Cristobal Otero in 6th. Johan Loigaderi in P number 7, as Borja Zazo will line up in P8. James Hauser P9 with Anthony Cat P10. Lucas de Velde lines up 11th with Lucetta in 12th. Vico 13th. Brian Court in 14th place here today. Gustavo Conde in P15. Daniele Fogherini and George Matazinski will round out your grid here today. And as the drivers get themselves ready, get themselves prepared for that initial run down towards Old Hull Corner, and then down the hill in towards turn 2 and turn 3 of Cascades. That's going to be where the opening battles of this lap, of this race, will happen. Thomas Simon on pole position here. He's going to have the outside line, though, into Old Hall Corner. So if he gets a poor start here, then there's certainly a possibility that Simon Edwards can nip down the inside at turn 1 and cause that number 6 a little bit of a problem. Paul's already gone over the clash in an official race between Edwards and Barber, so that's a particular storyline that we'll want to focus on, especially through the opening portion of this race, as they are very close together. P2 and P3 on the starting grids. We are a maximum of 10 seconds away from taking the green flag. The engines will start to go here on the Skip Barbers. We'll get green flag racing at Oulton Park. It's a good start from Simon. Gets away well. That's all he had to do to cover off the move into turn 1. Edwards slots in P2. Barber in P3. Ramos, though, over Vascalampi into P number 4 at the moment, as it's single file for pretty much your entire field immediately here, coming through the first sector of the lap. Edwards keeping close to Simon here as they head up to the braking zone, the heaviest braking zone on the lap into the island's hairpin. No aggressive move from Edwards this time around. We have a bit of side-by-side deeper inside the pack, though. A couple of bits of side-by-sides as these drivers try to settle these battles early.
Everyone's made it through the first couple of corners and through the hairpins without any issues, but the real test is going to be coming up to this fast right-hander, and if anyone will try anything silly. But so far it seems to be everyone's acting sensibly at the moment.
Yeah, oh, we got a car off in the background, though, and that is going to be James Hauser, the number 7 car from Virginia, or one of the Virginias, has had a bit of a problem. As we'll get to see that. It was a side-by-side down into Knickerbrook, and the back end just breaks away from Hauser. Goes for a bit of a spin through the grass on the exit of the corner, and now as a result is pretty much dead last. Look at this, though, side-by-side for the race lead between Edwards and Simon on the way across the pit straight and down into the turn number 1 of Old Hall, and Edwards on the inside is able to count that pass completed, but Simon has a run off the corner here and could challenge into turn 3 of Cascades, but he's not going to be able to find a line to be able to do so. Edwards to the pointy end of the field, and we haven't seen that for the last couple of rounds, Ryan.
Yeah, we've not seen that for quite some time. I think it's normally Simon Edwards starts further back in the pack, and it takes a while for him to get through. But riding on board with Simon at the moment, he tries to do the switch back, but he can't do it, and Edwards holds the inside line. But Simon's got the run on the outside.
Yeah, he does, and Tamas around the outside of Knickerbrook. They're absolutely neck and neck into the braking zone for the corner. Edwards tracking out a little bit and giving the squeeze a little bit to his namesake on the outside. They're still just absolutely wheel to wheel coming into Druids now at turn 8. Tamas Simon almost pushing a little bit too wide, almost getting tyres into the grass, but he continues to bring the fight to Edwards now into Lodge Corner. Turn number 9, a little bit on camber. Edwards carries a lot of speed through the corner. He will be logged as the race leader for this lap, but they've gone side by side, Ryan, for pretty much the entirety of it.
Yeah, fantastic race in the early stages of this race so far, as Ramos is trying to make a move up the inside of Simon into turn 1. I know there's just about a contact, but luckily they've managed to make it through.
Yeah, and again, the race leaders are just going to battle it out now, coming through Cascades. Edwards this time on the inside, and you see Tamas Simon just tracking out a little bit there. 2 tyres in the dirt as they hit the brakes into the island's hairpin. They're side by side behind them, as well as Barber and Ramos decide to have their own little bit of a duel here. And this is keeping everyone in one big train at the moment, as these guys are unable to settle their differences. Edwards, Simon into Knickerbrook now, and you see Edwards on the outside, and well, Tamas Simon doesn't give him the squeeze like Simon Edwards did to him on the previous lap, but still a close run of things here inside this front group. Ramos and Barber are also deciding to join the party here in this one, but Tamas Simon on the inside, he lost a bit of speed going up over that curve, so eventually has to surrender this race lead, and now he has to battle with Gerardo Ramos, who decides to make a move around the outside of 9.
Just looking in the background as well, they were just about going 4 wide, but they weren't able to do that. But the top 4 cars were slowly pulling away from the pack behind, but these guys battling at the front has allowed them to catch back up and get back into this battle. But yeah, it's still really close.
Oh, Barber out into the grass. He struggles to keep hold of it, and he does. Great bit of driving from the number 12. And he's able to slot in P4, which is exactly where he came across the line at as well. We'll see the replay up on screen. You can see those guys going side by side ahead of him into turn 1. Has to make avoiding action, because that car on the inside looking out of the control. Barber has his own moment out in the grass, but doesn't gain position, doesn't lose position. So pretty good thing there for Barber, and he's still within this battle as well.
I'm just looking at this pack as well. This from first to where, God knows where, but yeah, this pack is still real close together, and I think this is the closest that the pack's been this season, I think, so far. So fantastic racing at the moment, and I have to say, if this is anything to go by, this will be the best race of the season so far.
We're going to call that 4 laps into the 16-lap race. Let's go. Tamas Simon now, he's 3rd in line. We see a battle in the mid-pack as well. Having a little bit of a disagreement. That's Laurie Gaderi actually losing the position. He gets tagged from behind as well in towards the final corner. That one's a bit awkward, as we'll now see that those guys come across the line. Laurie Gaderi in P7 across the line. A bit of side by side ahead of these guys. Vascalampi versus Barber through turn number 1, but Barber's going to come out on top in that instance, and Vascalampi gets a slowdown penalty. He has to let a couple of cars by, and might even have to let more by here coming through Cascade, side by side behind him, between those cars of I believe Zazo and Conde. They were having a bit of a duel here in towards the island's hairpin. Conde around the outside, almost a bit of contact with the car immediately behind of Zazo. So it's not just those leading cars that are deciding to fight like this, it's these cars at the back of the field as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it might be worth mentioning the incident points as well, because around this track they're so easy to get, so these guys might need to be careful and make sure they don't get too many incidents at this early stage of the race.
Yeah, have to be careful squeezing through on that number 2 car. Gustavo Conde is looking to try and make an impact. We've had a bit of an instant though further back. You see a puff of smoke and there's a car up on its roof. Alexis Fico has gone for a bit of a ride here. What has happened to him here? There's cars out in the dirt trying to get themselves to speed off the corner, but Fico, let's see. Oh, it was a dive down the inside. And look at that wild incident for the Iberian driver. Completely and utterly not his fault. It was a driver that dove down his inside there and just punted him onto his roof. And he's taken the tow back towards the pit lane. We can see it now back at the front of the field. Edwards still leads from Ramos, from Simon, from Barber, but all these guys still very much in one big long train on lap number 6 of this 16-lap event. Simon goes very, very wide there. Another incident point to his name there, Ryan, and we were just talking about how easy they are to pick up.
It's an easy thing to do around this track. You can run wide on the exit of turn 1 and also this corner here. If you take too much exit curve, you can get an off track, as we ride on board of Ramos at the moment behind the leader Simon Edwards, and yeah, Ramos is looking very, very racy.
Yeah, he is. Oh, Ramos looking incredibly racy as he brings the battle to the race leader through turn 8 of Druids and has the inside for Lodge as well. Simon tempted to, Simon Edwards attempted to give the squeeze here. It's a bit confusing when you have 2 drivers with Simon in their name here in these Skip Barber machines, as the latter of the 2, the number 6, Tamas Simon, looking to try and get involved from 3rd place, but it's Edwards and Ramos that currently battle into turn 1. Again, Simon trying to find a run of speed here. The Central and Eastern European driver makes it a tight 3-car pack down the hill into Cascades. Ramos, he's been beaten a bit here. He tries to follow so closely, runs wide out the corner. Another instant point picked up. He tries to find a line around the outside for the island's hairpin. Simon Edwards driving that car in on the inside. He's able to keep the position secure for now. Now Barber is challenging for P number 3, and he might have just gotten P number 3 away from Tamas Simon as Ramos angles to the inside for Nickerbrook again to try to challenge a race leader. He goes so deep and he's not quite able to get clear as these guys will keep on battling.
Yeah, this is fantastic racing. We're just about to go, two rows into this corner here, if that makes sense. But fantastic racing so far, and Ramos is trying to make a move up the inside of Edwards, but right behind them is it looks like Barber's trying to make a run, and they're all real close together. Well, Ramos trying to make a move into the final corner. He's up the inside.
He's trying so hard, but Edwards is just kept him behind for now. He almost got clear out of Nickerbrook. Again, Ramos will have another chance into turn 1 here as he sends it in. Edwards goes a bit wide. Again, careful of those incidents. Behind, though, you see Barber and Tamas Simon having a bit of a battle down the hill. And this time, I think Barber's been able to work his way through. Yes, he has. So now he's the driver in 3rd place to try and go chasing your dueling pair.
As I looking further out the park as well, it's it looks like Ramos has got no nose tip at the moment as well, by the looks of it. So he might have had contact with Edwards.
Yeah, he might have. We saw that bit of debris fly off through turn 1 just a lap ago. So yeah, it's a bit of aerodynamic damage there for Ramos. It's not showing up on my screen either, and neither on your view as well. So that's damage confirmed for Gerardo Ramos. Loss of a nose cone though in these Skip Barbers, probably not going to do all that much. I mean, they're not the most aerodynamic of cars, but going to mean that he has a little bit more drag. Does affect the top end, yes it does. So, you know, not that matters though around here. I'd have to argue maybe it makes some of these side-by-side moments just that little bit harder. You can see He's attempting to go down the inside of turn 1 now, but he's not finding the speed that he used to. But I guess here it's going to be less detrimental than at some other tracks, Ryan.
I think around this track it won't matter too much. I think it's more maybe the top end might be affected. So, but if it was around a longer track with loads of straights, it could affect you possibly. But like a track such as Oulton Park, with the loads of corners, I don't think it'll matter that much, as this pack is still close together and Ramos is still behind, real close behind Edwards. But also these top 2 guys need to keep an eye out in the pack behind. These guys that are sitting behind could happily pick up the pieces if they get caught up with each other.
Yep, they could. Ramos not finding a line this time into Knickerbrookers. This has calmed down just a little bit, and I know the risk in saying that as well. There's Ramos again, just showing the nose. Well, he doesn't have a nose left, so he has nothing to show down into these corners, but still he'll try and find those angles. Try and find the speed out of Druids as well. He's gotten a good run out here, and he's able to use the slipstream to bring it to wheel. They make contact. Ramos, he gets disqualified. Simon Edwards spins into the Armco barrier. That's a loose right front wheel. That might just not matter in the grand scheme of things. He has to bring it side 3 wide in the back of the pack here to try and recover. But Ramos going for a risky move. And also Edwards not wanting to give up position. It all comes to a head, and Ramos so close to a DQ. We'll see it on the replay down towards the right hand side, and that's all on Ramos. The space was given by Edwards.
It was just to prove my point as well. These guys were sitting behind these 2, the top 2 at the time, would be happy to pick up the pieces and take up, gain a position, and unfortunately these 2, Ramos and Edwards, got caught with each other, just fighting each other too much, and unfortunately that ended up in contact and a disqualification for Ramos.
Yeah, and well, you saw how many incident points he was picking up by pushing wide and trying to duel with some of these cars, and now he is disqualified from the event. Edwards is still going though, albeit relatively deep in the pack. As we'll see, actually it might not have been a DQ. In fact, he might have been thrown off the legal track geometry, shall we say, is probably the best way of describing it. As Barber now has to try to defend P number 2 here from the car of Anthony Catt. So a typical mid-pack runner that works his way through in the race now almost finds himself right at the very front, and can potentially challenge for the race win, given a right set of circumstances. But this leading battle is still one big train at the moment. We see Edwards actually come down on towards the pit lane to get his fast repair, not able to continue on with the damage.
Yeah, it looked like after the contact with Ramos, he might have broken his right front suspension, I should say, or damaged his right front wheel. So tried to keep going, but unfortunately had to dive into the pits and get a fast repair. But back up at the front, it's currently Simon leading from Barber, from Catt, from Johan and Lucas Cabelder, and yeah, they've still got a reasonably big pack as well at the moment, so any of these cars up at the front could take the win.
Yep. 7 cars strong at the moment is that leading pack. All the way down to Cristobal Otero in that number 5 car, in that lime green car right at the very back. As he looks to try and make some progress up the field. He's got to have a decent, well, he has a decent gap to try and catch up right now, but with the slipstream of those cars ahead, should not be a problem for him, as these cars just snake their way through towards the final corner of the lap lodge, in towards the technically last corner, the deer leap, turn number 10, but I wouldn't really count this as a corner, more of a section of racetrack, as Gustavo Conde having a bit of a duel a little bit further back. That was with Zazo, as this is basically your second pack here. You can see that first pack go through on the bottom, just as we see now this second pack of 5 cars work their way through. Zazo almost running into the back of Conde coming out of turn 1. Can't find a line on the left-hand side, will instead just stay in line for the long left-hander of Cascades. So these battles still continuing, primarily in your second pack now, Ryan.
Yeah, it looks like it's after the incident with Ramos and Edwards, it looks like this pack is split up. This pack is split up into two. So we've still got a battle up at the front, and we've got a battle up down in the midfield as well. So battle going on for the places just inside the top 10 and outside the top 10, and also this battle up at the front as we ride on board with Anthony Catt, who is stuck behind Christian Barber and Thomas Simon. So I wonder if Catt is playing the waiting game and maybe just waiting until maybe the final 1 or 2 laps and maybe trying to make a move. But as I say that, he's trying to make a move up the inside of Barber into the final corner.
Yes, he is. He looks for a line down into here. He can carry a bit of speed. And Catt, well, he's just about got him off the corner. He will get clear coming down the pit straight. And Lorigaderi now looking to try to get involved as well. But all this battling has meant that Thomas Simon right at the front of the field has been able to gap these guys by about 0.8 of a second right now. So the more these guys scrap them, the more Thomas Simon is going to be laughing all the way to the checkered flag. They need to be working together to make sure that that race leader doesn't check completely out. So you can see the gap on that wide shot down in towards the braking zone of the Island Hairpin. Again, no instances of side-by-side this time around, but still very much wheel-to-wheel. In your second pack, though, is Condé able to hold strong over Zazo at the moment.
Absolutely. I was just about to say Barber needs to watch for these incidents as well, because he must be getting close to reaching the incident limit for the off track. So he might need to rethink his approach as we enter the closing stages of this race.
Whoa, there we go. Zazo so wide through Knickerbrook, and now Lucetta is the car looking to pick up the pieces from that particular error through the final sector of the lap inside for the next corner. And well, the Druids and still not able to quite get by just yet. Zazo will survive to fight another day in terms of this position. It has allowed Condé to get away marginally at the front of this pack as these two decide to have a bit of a fight. But back towards the front of the field, Thomas Simon, Anthony Catt. That gap has now come down. It was about 7/8 of a second. Now it's about 4.5 of a second in this instance. And it was a good run through the first corner by Catt. That has resulted in a decent chunk of that. Now tucking within the slipstream, he doesn't really have Barber all that close behind, so Catt can really just focus on trying to chase down Simon at this stage because he's not being pressured.
Yep, I think Anthony Catt just needs to play it cool, just keep hitting his marks and not overdrive. Just try and keep up with Simon and just wait until the last lap and maybe make a move on the back straight or maybe on the home straight, depending on how close he is heading down to turn 1.
Yeah, it's really dependent on that run, isn't it? Or at least for the opportunities in that first part of the lap. But 3 laps to go here. Going to be 2 laps to go across the line in just a couple of moments' time. Anthony Catt been working at this gap for the last 2 laps or so, but has yet to have a clear opportunity to work his way by. But things might change now in these final 2 laps. Thomas Simon has been at the front of the field all day. Anthony Catt, he started in 10th place to get up into currently P2. There is Barber going so wide through the exit of turn 1. But Anthony Catt, he's gone from 10th to 2nd already. Surely he's not that much of an ass to do one more.
Yep, as a ride on board of the leader, Thomas Simon, I should say, as Catt tries to make a move up the inside into the hairpin, but can't get it done. But hopefully he can try and get a run in the exit of the hairpin, as it looks like there's a battle going on behind these guys as well.
Yep, there is. So we'll get another look at it. Riding on board with De Belder. What's happened here into the Island's hairpin, trying to pass the 4 on the outside. That's Lorigaderi. There's a bit of contact involved in that one. A bit of wheel banging, but everyone is able to keep themselves on the racing surface. And we will return to the live pictures. You see, there's little bit of a battle going on, and we see that the front of the field as well, riding on board with Anthony Cat for the final couple of corners of the penultimate lap then. They'll go through the dearly, the changing elevation up towards the pit straight. White flag flying. This is the final lap of the race. Tamas Simon, pole position, currently in the race lead, but Anthony Cat, he certainly is going to have a good go at it for this final lap of the race. Barber too far, really, to try and influence this battle for the race lead, unless these guys slow each other up. But for the final lap through Cascades, Anthony Cat needed a good run to try and find the inside for the Island's hairpin. Is he going to send it this time? Decides against it. A bit of a puff of smoke from a lockup for Simon, but he gets himself through the corner. He's able to make it. Now down what is basically the back straight here at Oulton Park, all the way down in towards Knickerbrook. Cat still hasn't had the opportunity required. Hits the brakes into Knickerbrook, drags that car in, tries to keep within the slipstream. It might be Druids, it might be Lodge Corner, where he's able to make this move. He's forced Simon to go defensive. Outside line for Druids then, for Anthony Cat to try and take away this race win. We're going to go wheel to wheel for the final couple of corners here for the race lead in this edition of Race Sport TV Friday Primetime. Anthony Cat on the outside, Simon on the inside. Through the final corner they go. Simon has the runner speed through. Cat has the outside line and a pretty good run off. We might go side by side across the line, but Simon, he has the car length required. Across the line he goes. Tamas Simon is a race winner at Oulton Park.
What an awesome final lap that was. That was just epic stuff.
Absolutely epic, and we've already had most of the runners come across the line. That's how tightly packed the entire race was up and down the field. We have a look at Fogarini and what has happened to them. Well, there's a bit of scrapping ahead of them. Oh, they just lose it into the barrier. Oh, heavy contact. Oh my word, who was that? That was absolutely crazy. James Hauser going for a wild ride. Massive contact well, through the exit of Knickerbrook as he climbed the hill. Bang! Wheel off. That is a scary incident. If you saw that in the real world, you'd be quite rightfully scared if you've got hurt there.
Yeah, that was a big one. It certainly probably would have woke James up.
I mean, thankfully here in sim racing, the only damage that you could do is, I mean, if you have a direct drive wheel and you hold on to it, you might get a sprained wrist, but still. Alexis Vico, he comes across the line as your final runner, as he will take P number 15. But here are your official race results here from Oulton Park in the racing Skip Barber Racing School Series. Tamas Simon by less than 1/10 of a second comes away with the win over Anthony Cat, who had a very good run, 10th to second place. Christian Barber finishes exactly where he started in third. Laurie Gaderi gaining a couple into fourth. Vascalampi, P5 for him. Crispa Otero, P6. Lucas Tebelda with a decent race up into 7th place. Gustavo Conde into 8th. Borja Zazo losing 1 place into 9th. Manuel Lucetta in 10th will round out your top 10, and George Matuzinski in P11. And then you have your final couple of runners. Reincourt, you have Ramos with that early battle with Simon Edwards, which it didn't end well for either of them, as they finished P13 and P14. Vico in P15 as your last car on the lead lap, and then your cars a lap down. Fogarini and James Hauser will round out your 17 car finishing results. But with that, we're done for the racing, but the post-race show is coming up just after this. Don't go away. Hello everyone and welcome back to the post-race show here for Racesport TV Friday primetime. We've had yet another fantastic race here in the Skip Barber series for this season's edition. Connery Maddock, Ryan Walker, we also had Paul Smith at the very start of the broadcast. But Ryan, that was an absolutely incredible race. The yellow pen's out. The gap less than 1/10 of a second between your two drivers right at the front of the field. As close as you like at the end there. Anthony Cat, he had an attempt around the outside of Druids, around the outside of Lodge, but wasn't able to make it work.
That was a fantastic final lap between Simon and Cat. That was just, both of them weren't going to give up. Both of them were in with a chance of winning, and quite rightly so. They battled it out right up till the finish line on the last lap, and the racing throughout the field for me was just absolutely just out of this world.
Yep, it was absolutely incredible. We actually get to relive those last couple of moments. See Anthony Cat trying to bring himself as close as possible through Knickerbock, trying to nail that exit to give him the run up the hill with the slipstream into Druids. You can see he gets the outside line here, goes deep on the brakes and tries deep as possible to try and carry so much speed around the outside, but Emma Simon keeping himself strong. At this point, Cat could still come away with it. He's absolutely level on the way into the final corner. But Thomas Simon with the better run through. You can see Anthony Cat going so wide. That'll shrug off a little bit of speed as well, which would have been required on the run to the line. They end up finishing less than a car length away from each other there. As there's the finish line. Thomas Simon across it first, but Anthony Cat not too far away, and it could have just been Anthony Cat's first race win, I believe, here on Racesport primetime.
Yep, I don't think he's won a race this season so far, from what I gather. But it could have been his first race win of the season. He came so close, and I think it was just that bad run on the exit of the final corner that cost him. But it's still a great result for Cat, finishing second after starting in 10th position. And yeah, that race was brilliant, and I couldn't think of any other way of spending Valentine's Day with you and Mr. Smith.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic indeed. Of course, you know, from everyone here on Racesport TV, from me, Connery Maddock, Ryan Walker, Paul Smith behind the scenes, and for introducing the broadcast as well. Thank you very, very much for that. Istvan Barlow for providing our TV cameras as well here for Oulton Park. But we've got still a couple more rounds to go. We've got the next round in exactly a week's time. So same place, same time next week. I'm Connery Maddock. I'll see you guys for that when we get round to it. Goodbye.